Okay, so recording, go live. Okay, all right, that's a bit better. Okay, so let me just get comfortable here. So today was the for those of you who may not know, I went out to Grimsby, Ontario for the day today, and I participated in the annual Catholic Children's Aid Society Hamilton's breakaway day training for the foster parents and the Foster Parents Association. So we did a training for the day. It was a really good opportunity to go and train these parents on the foster care experience, okay? The good, the bad, the ugly, the worst, whatever, without sugarcoating anything. So I was able to go and do that along with two other council members. I'm not going to mention names, but yeah, it was really thought out. It was really good, and I just want to share with you how it went. So we got 15 current and former foster youth at the Catholic Children's Aid to participate in a half-an-hour video explaining about their personal experiences as well, and we had other stuff going on outside of that video as well. And one of the things we did was on top of the video, and then there was other things that we did. We also gave a lecture presentation. So I was able to do that. So I want to share to you what I actually gave my lecture on, and what I actually told these foster parents. I made copies of this, and I gave a few away to the foster parents who wanted it, who were interested in taking one home with them. So I was going to read it to you, and then I'll take it from there. So good morning / afternoon. Now it's our morning and afternoon, so I'm really exhausted, but whatever. My name is Jackson Gates, and I am here to provide some insight of my own personal experiences while growing up in the system and how things can get better for the current and next generation of foster youth. So let's get right into it. And by the way, these are my own words. It's just a typed out speech, lecture, or whatever. But these are my exact words, obviously. So a word I would use for growing up in the system is challenging. What I am going to tell you will explain as to why I have chosen this specific word. I was around 10 years of age when I first came into foster care on a temporary status, and then later as a Crown Ward with access status. Ccas intake workers initially took my older sister's infant 2 days prior. What made my twin brother and I to get taken into the society was a major stroke that my mother had while having withdrawals from the narcotics she was abusing. My brother was upstairs on the PlayStation, and I was watching a movie that my mother and I were supposed to watch after she was done in the kitchen. The movie ended, and I could hear the water still running in the sink. I went over and saw my mother bent over the sink standing up. I grabbed her gently and walked her slowly to the couch in the living room. My mother had a classic symptoms of a major stroke. Being so young and naive at the time, I was only 10 years old, I did not realize nor understand this. For 6 hours, I tried snapping her out of it. You name it, I did it. I slapped her in the face, I punched her in the stomach, I threw hot water at her, I yelled at her, so on and so forth. Nothing was working. She was not responding to me at all. I tried to get my brother to help me, but he said that our mother was fine, that he's too busy playing his video games. I was completely alone with no way to call for help. We had my mom, because my mom's choices. We were living way below the poverty line, literally, so we didn't have a working telephone in the house for me to even call 911. There was no payphones in the area at all whatsoever, so I was completely alone. No way to call for help. My older sister, who had her baby taken away 2 days earlier by Ccas, came home from only God knows where, and this is why I'll say this statement, because when she arrived at the house, she was under the influence of heavy narcotics and alcohol. She saw me what I was doing, came over, grabbed me, threw me away literally, and yelled at me to go upstairs. She ran next door to grab our neighbor, and he was the one who finally called 911. My brother and I were rushed next door when the Hamilton Emergency Services, so the Hamilton Police, Hamilton EMS, and the Hamilton firefighters were all at the house, literally. So we were next door where they attended to my mother. Shortly after this occurrence, we were taken to my aunt's house, my mom's biological sister, and then to my nan's, my mom's mom. The next school day following this incident, 2 female intake workers from the agency took my brother and I to our first foster home in the country on Stony Creek Mountain. At first, many foster parents and family were welcoming, but it did not take long for everything to spiral downhill and out of control. My foster mother noticed I was different and very outspoken and had a protective side. She used every excuse in the book to medicate me, to make me easier to deal with. So I was thrown into pediatrician's office like every couple to few weeks. The maximum time in between was a month. And just because I was not the typical kid that would just take it, I actually stood up. I protected my brother in the foster home. I was outspoken. I was not taking crap from anybody. And so to make me easier to deal with, I was on heavy narcotics, pretty much 6 prescriptions, 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and night. It was ridiculous. It was bad. Just to, dope me out so I was easier to handle. Her consequences for inappropriate behavior were not Ccas or government approved, but she kept that hidden from everybody. I've had many social workers, many foster placements in my time as a Crown Ward of the state, and she covered it up. Plain and simple. It was never dealt with properly. My advice is this: do not be harsh and unjust with your consequences and be so quick to judge and use prescriptions to handle a child or a situation. It will end up backfiring. Like it did with her when I went against her constantly every day that I was pretty much there. The child will not benefit from the home properly. There will be a disruption in the household and the child could be moved. Learn to understand what is happening to this child. Talk to them. Offer your help. Use methods that are not drugs from a doctor. So you'll be amazed at how many options are out there to help children besides taking them to a pediatrician and getting them loaded up on drugs. And by the way, my diagnosis changed every month. Every couple of weeks, every month, my diagnosis changed. Just so I could have, my foster mom could have heavier medication to deal with me. It was disgusting. But you'd be surprised. Instead of filling the doctors and pharmacists with money that they don't deserve and don't need, there's so much, there's therapy, there's other options out there to help kids outside of medication. Medication should only be used as a last resort, in my opinion. Use methods that are loving and understanding. Meet the child on their level if you have to, one way or another. If you have the consequences, obviously, teenagers, adolescents, children, consequence discipline is part of growing up, I get it. But be humane and just and abide by regulation when consequencing these foster children. Since I was a Crown Ward with access, maintaining biological family relationships for the first few years were good. My mother's side of the family took us out every weekend, my brother and I. Summer vacations away after college up north, going to my nan's trailer, so on and so forth. As I got older and came out as gay, things started to shift downward. There were no supports in place that would have helped me bridge these barriers and keep a relationship with them. My foster parents did not know what to do, and I've had many foster parents. Social workers were even at a loss, and I've had many social workers. There needs to be an option in the book to help foster children and youth keep these relationships, especially when they are breaking down. It has now been almost 7 years, and that side of the family has still disowned me for their own ignorance and bigotry that could have been resolved had I had more support and options at my disposal. And that is so true. It broke down way too fast, way too hard, and I'm still to this day disowned by my mom's side of the family. Equality in a foster home is very crucial, especially when foster parents have either more than one foster child or have their own biological children living in the home. Equality among certain foster siblings, my brother and myself, was pretty much non-existent. Not only did they do and got what I originally asked and got denied for, when they would act out, a lot of the times people would look the other way. When I acted out, World War III would occur. I would get the consequences of being locked in my room with the door alarm on for over 12 hours going into the next day. Be locked up outside in the freezing cold in the winter or the scalding hot sun in the summer, with nothing to ensure my well-being out there for several hours before being allowed back in to eat and go to bed. My most favorite consequence is when one of my foster mom's own son, a grown man, and at this time he was 26 years old and he was a huge person. I was in my room on the locking guard with the alarm on. My bedroom door flew right off the hinges. He barged in, he grabbed me by my pajama shirt, dragged me out to the hallway, picked me up right off the ground, hung me over a massive sweeping staircase that was at the front of the house, got right in my face, screamed at me, etc. And he was just like right this in my face, and I could feel his breath, his spit was even on my face, and it was really abusive. When he put me down, I tried turning around to run the other way towards my foster mom's bedroom. Immediately, he grabbed me by the back of my shirt and dragged me backwards right down those stairs. He opened the front door and threw me out, making me fly past the veranda and face first onto the concrete driveway. So when he opened the door, he was such a strong, big person that he literally threw me out the door, and I literally was made airborne because at the time I was very tiny, very light kid as well. So I literally became airborne through his, how he threw me, and I missed the entire porch, veranda, whatever you want to call it, missed the stairs completely, and I smacked face first onto the concrete driveway. From there, he proceeded, and the foster home was in agreement, to lock the doors and lock me out for several hours. I remember that night, it would not be until 9:30 p.m. when I was allowed back in to have a quick bite and get some hydration because I was dehydrated for being out in summer hotness that day, and being going to bed with pretty much no door anymore. So from there, I was locked outside, as I just said, and my worker at the time, who's no longer a Catholic Children's Aid worker, she got fired, for lack of a better term. I'll explain that in a minute. Her and my foster mom, anyways, ensured that my grade 8 graduation prom did not happen for me. I almost got denied my grade 8 graduation dinner, and I had to fight for that. And growing up through elementary and high school, I was bullied right, left, and center for no reason at all. Just because I was different. I was, it's just a lot of barriers, and becoming okay was not a picnic either. So it was very important to me that I attend my grade 8 dinner, grad dinner, and my grade 8 graduation prom. I had to fight for the dinner, which I got, but then I wasn't able to attend the prom. My brother did, but I didn't. And as soon as I got home, I was locked in my bedroom until the next day. I've never been to an elementary or high school prom to this day, just so you know. That is neither right nor fair. No one else received the punishments I had while living there for over 4 years. When a child acts out, you need to consequence them properly, and ensure the same rules and consequences are set in place for each of the children in the home, whether they are your own biological children or the children that the society has entrusted you to care for. If your own children live at home and are adults like this man was, please lay down the ground rules on how to treat them. Keep in mind, making sure that every child has the same equal opportunities will make the issue lessen and your home a happy, more productive one. That can go a long way with equality in the foster home. So if one kid can't do it, and you shouldn't be. Other kids who never asked for it originally should get it or be able to do it. And same rule. Everyone's by with the same rules, the same consequences, the same chores. Not this abusive, selective crap, for lack of a better term. What foster parents need to know about foster care is this: care, just like any other government-run system, has its ups and downs. When first coming into care, this is a traumatic event for any child. They got taken away from their own families and from everything that they knew, and are placed in a stranger's home with decisions being made for them. They are scared. They are emotional. They don't know what to expect, etc. Patience, understanding, not taking anything personally, love, and a shoulder to cry on is a great way to start caring for these children. They may lash out or act in a certain way, but please let them express themselves without any fear of consequences. As long as they are not hurting you, they are not hurting anyone else in the home, and they are not breaking any laws. They need to let it out to deal with it and move on. Let them come to you. Let them, once again, can't stress this enough, let them get it all out. Just be there when they turn for you for any guidance and support, because eventually they will need it. The foster care experience can be improved for current and foster children and youth by taking what you have heard here, what you have seen, and start putting it into practice. What we are telling you here today are the tools that you need to improve and provide more supports for these vulnerable children that are entrusted by, again, the society in your care. If you need written copies of what we have said and done today, we can provide those documents to you. And I even mentioned to them that we can provide the training video that we did without any red tape barriers if they so wish. Ask us what you need. That would allow you to put what we have said into action. If we start this process as soon as we can, then change and a long-lasting relationship between everyone involved, whether you're a foster parent, a foster child, or a social worker. The sooner change for the better can happen. My name once again is Jackson Gates, and I'm a former youth and care, former Crown Board of the state. I hope you can take something from me that would help you as foster parents. Thank you. And then I put my name there, and then former youth and care, former Crown Board, whatever. And then under I put Ccas, which is the Catholic Children's Aid Society of Hamilton's LGBTQ2S+ advisor on the YAC Council. So I have my trademark here as well. and this is exactly what I presented to them, and this is word for word what happened. So this is, on top of that, and visual aids in the video and other things that we did today outside of the lecture, we gave a proper training to these foster parents. This training happens every year. Last year I wasn't able to go because I had other commitments, other stuff come up, but I did do a video broadcast that he broadcasted to them last year. But I was able to be there physically this year, so that worked out really well. I'm gonna swig a coffee and a cigarette in a minute. So it's great. It's a great idea, though, you know, because now these foster parents are not reading from a textbook, not reading from a government manual. You're hearing it from people like myself who have survived a broken system, and it's broken. And you know, like when the Q&A segment of the training came up, okay, and there was a lot of foster parents and social workers there. When the Q&A came up from both the social workers and the foster parents, a lot of questions were directed towards myself, which is fine. I'm totally up for that. So I had a lot of foster parents ask the same question. Well, what happened to this foster parent, this foster home? What happened to the social worker that allowed the cover up and allowed you to miss out on your graduation? And for that abusive situation, he claimed I said that's something I did not say, but that still doesn't justify anything. I went to my mom's sister, my aunt, I'm not going to mention any names for the sake of confidentiality, and I told her what was happening, but she didn't want to go up against my foster mom or the agency, so she didn't do anything about it, really. She kept it quiet. So I was told that situation, she did not get her license as a foster parent in Ontario rescinded. It was only a year and a half later that there was another situation that involved my brother that I put my foot down and I snapped and I grabbed everybody I can get my hands on at the Jones aid level and at foster parent level, and I got my brother removed and the investigation short, and I had to give a testimony. And let's just say, like, at the end of this investigation, her license was revoked. She can no longer be a foster parent in Ontario, and she took that opportunity to retire from being a foster parent. That was back in 2010. Towards the latter half of 2010, she has not been a foster parent for pretty much 8 years, and that social worker has not been a social worker at any Jones aid for the last 8 years as well. But they were not charged under the criminal law. They were not convicted. They just investigation. You're blacklisted. You can no longer foster in Ontario. Social worker can no longer be a social worker in Ontario. And that was pretty much it, and they got shut down, and the foster mom parents retired, and the social worker, God knows what she did. So I had many placements that I could have gone on in my lecture, but I decided to go on based on that one because, you know, we had a lot of stuff going on that day, like today. We had a lot of stuff going on today, so I was only crunched for time. So I picked this one because a lot of the cover-ups, a lot of the abuse I went through at the hands of the child welfare system and foster parents, happened. A lot of it happened in that home, and I was in the middle of nowhere. This home is in the middle of Timbuktu on Stony Creek Mountain. Like, there's nothing but trees. So obviously, like, it's easier to cover up when you're in a country setting than an urban setting. So, and I endured years of constant abuse. I took it all. My brother, he had it easy. He just had to be there. But when I was moved from that foster home, she moved on to him, and that's what led up to her getting kicked out, for lack of a better term. But so that's why I chose specifically that placement, my very first, for several years, because it was constant abuse from like 2 weeks after I got there to the minute I left, and I wasn't having it when I heard from my brother what was going on between him and her, and I was done. I snapped, literally. So I think it's a great idea, you know, to have this training, like, you know, to go in, take time off work, to go in. You know, like, this is part of my job too. Like, you know, I have an LGBTQ2S+ advisor position on the YAC Council at the Ccas, so this is part of my job. But, like, it's an amazing opportunity, right? It's something that cannot be passed up, that should be taken full advantage of, because now these foster parents are hearing from you directly. You're training them directly. They're not doing, it's not a government-approved guideline. It's raw, no sugarcoating material coming from people who don't have the red tape that the government has set out for them. I don't have red tape. I can say whatever I want, and that's what we need. No red tape to be able to get the training and the message across. Lots more information was covered. I'm not going to go into great detail because we'll be here for quite a while. But this is exactly what it said today to these foster parents. And you know, exactly what I showed them, and the questions, I answered the questions, what happened to the foster home eventually, and the social worker eventually. And one of them asked me how I am today, how I ended up. I'm 23 years old. I've been aged out of care since I was 21, so I've been aged out of care for over 2 years. So I told them exactly what's going on in my life, work life, personal life. So without going into much detail, mind you, just keep it brief. And just, you know, let them know, like, I have overcome the system. I have beat the broken system. I survived. And a foster mom took the mic at the end of one of the sessions we did, and she said, literally word for word out of her own mouth, to the whole room, said that we are the survivors of the broken system. We're the ones that people need to listen to, not the government, not policy. And everyone agreed with her. Because, yeah, in a way, not in a way, in every way, we are survivors of the system. Damn right we are. And then also, you know, going through sexual assault, you know, while still living at home with my mom, being coupled with foster parent and child welfare system abuse, because the system is still broken, and it was back then and it is now. So, you know, of course, I am a survivor. I have survived. I've beat the odds. I beat my mom's side of the family, even put me down, put odds against me, and I overcame that really quickly. Had many obstacles, but I took every challenge, and I beat the system, and I beat all the obstacles, all the odds, all the bullying, all the nasty. I have overcome a lot and survived a lot, and this is why the foster parents need to hear and need us to be doing the training and not the government. So I had this opportunity, an amazing opportunity. I thought I'd go on Facebook Live to share this opportunity with you. Now, without further ado, I know I've been talking for a little while, blah blah haha. If you guys have any questions, let me see about. I haven't been paying attention to who's watching, who's not. Hang on 2 seconds. No, that won't work. Can I just slide over gently? Hang on here, folks. Hang on. Swipe. Oh, comments. That was one of your shortest videos, LOL, Wayne Arnold. You look like a professor with your longer hair and glasses. No, and that's pretty much it about comments for now. Alright, so, yeah, I'm growing out my hair for a certain hairstyle. I'm going to get my hair cut and my hair dyed in a couple of weeks. There's a reason I'm growing out my hair. It's for a certain hairstyle and my usual color for the summer, so that's coming in a couple of weeks. That's why my hair is long, and, you know, my glasses, it's just an accessory, right? So, anyways, it doesn't look like anybody has any kind of real comments about what I just said. I'm going to make this video public, meaning you don't have to be in my friends list to view this. Feel free to share it. I have respected everyone's confidentiality by not mentioning your name, so that's perfect. So feel free to share the video, be public. Feel free to comment after. I will answer your comments as quickly as I can. And I just wanted to let you guys know this opportunity and that there are people like myself. Oh, sorry, I don't know what happened there. My connection cut out for a second. So I just wanted to let you guys know that there are people like myself who are not blocked by red tape, or not government, or not social workers, not foster parents, not anybody in the system who is going out there and going, you know, changing the system and trying to make sure that the current and next generation of foster children are not going to have to survive what these should be protected from. So I should have been protected, I wasn't, but I want to make sure that when foster kids in the province is their legal, the government, the province is their legal guardians, I want to make sure that they don't have to survive. They can grow up like kids are supposed to grow up and have the kid opportunities and no abuse, and make sure that they have the safe environment and sustainability and resources that they need in order to thrive, just like everybody else. Without further ado, catch you guys on the flip side, and thank you so much for tuning in. Bye for now.